សូមបិទទូរស័ព្ទស្វាគមន៍ឡើងទៅគេកម្មវិធីដោយសៀកជាក្រុមហ៊ុនសៀកនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកផលិតផលជាអ្នក Endember វេទិកាសម្បត្តិផលនៅឃើញផលិតផលបង្កើតឡើងសម្រាប់ពិធីបុណ្យទឹកនៅបូដាប៉េសនេះ
van az, mint volt régen. Nem látom már szép arcodat, a kék tó tükrében. Fekete már annak vize, mint a madár szárnya. Káró madár, leszállt a világra. Nem úgy van az, mint volt régen. Nem sétálunk át a folyón, a befagyott jégen. Üres meder, annak helye, kiszáradt a forrás vize. Vigyél innen, messze távol engem. Nem úgy van az, mint volt régen. Nem jön eső, nincsen felhő. Nem jön eső, nincsen felhő. Fenn a magas égen, ég az erdő, ég a mező. Nem nyílik már virág, csukott szemem, záródj szívem, fekete a világ. Saras kezem megmosnám, de tiszta vizet nem találok, így könnyeimmel áztatom a száraz pusztaságot. Könnyeimmel áztatom. Lépjen elő minden ember, s könnyeinkkel teljen meg az összes világ tenger.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you at the Budapest Water Summit 2019. My name is Zsófia Tomai, and it is an honor to serve as the Master of Ceremony once again at the summit. Please allow me to start with some useful information. The headsets you had found on your seats will help you with the translation if needed. You can find the English translation on Channel 1 and the Hungarian on Channel 2. In case you have any general questions throughout the 3 days, our colleagues at the information desk and the liaison officers are at your service. The Digital and Nature-Based Sustainable Solutions Expo will be held again on margins of the conference. Please visit it on Wednesday and Thursday in Building B. The USB drives you have found on your seats are for your use. They store 13 short films of the winners of the International Nature Film Festival of Gödöllő. Please note that the events of this stage will be broadcasted live at the Budapest Water Summit's official website. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about the production you have just seen. The company, called Recirkel, was founded in Budapest in 2012 by director and choreographer Bence Vági. Recirkel represents a unique style of circus combined with dance and theater, building upon the flair of Mid-Eastern European, Hungarian classical theater culture. Recirkel Company opened the gate for contemporary circus in Hungary and carries a strong mission to get people acquainted with this new form of circus. Not having enough water, having too much water, having polluted water. These were the themes of the performance you have just seen. These are also the pillars of the emerging water crisis that we see around us all too often. How can we prevent the emerging water crises? How can we manage crises that cannot be prevented? What are still missing in knowledge, technology, governance, to name a few areas, to have solutions to these crises? These are some of the main questions we hope to answer in the coming 3 days. The outcomes of the Budapest Water Summits in 2013 and 2016 set the stage for these questions to be discussed and hopefully answered. The first Budapest Water Summit contributed to the adoption of a dedicated Sustainable Development Goal on water, SDG 6, as we all know it. The summit in 2016 was very instrumental in focusing on the implementation of this water goal. SDG 6 is a central element of an integrated agenda we call Transformation to Sustainable Development. The package of action offered by the Budapest Water Summit 2016 is still very much valid. The high-level panel on water embraced it, co-convened by the Secretary General of the United Nations and the President of the World Bank Group, and consequently acknowledged by the UN and the World Bank families. But time is running fast. Water crisis is at the threshold of an increasing number of communities and countries, potentially jeopardizing progress achieved in other areas of sustainable development. Hence, this year, the discussions will concentrate on better understanding the interlinkages of challenges in tackling the water-related crises, on evaluating results attained so far, and most of all, solutions, solutions, solutions. I'm sure we will hear of great outcomes by the end of the 3 days, and we appeal to the great minds present from 113 countries to spread the outcome message of the summit. I wish you great deliberations and a water-secure world. Now, I would kindly ask His Excellency, Mr. János Áder, President of Hungary, member of the former high-level panel on water, patron of the Budapest Water Summit, to hold his welcoming speech.
We, as the heads of state and government of the high-level panel on water, have 3 calls to action. Turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. Turn off that faucet and turn off the waste. Turn on investments in infrastructure, ecosystems management, and resilience. Turn up the value we place on water. Do you value water? Then join us.
Mindenki tisztában.
The difficult and menacing situation in which human society finds itself, but only a few act accordingly, wrote Albert Einstein. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I am welcoming you as the head of state of a country in the territory of which Roman emperors already in the 3rd, 4th century, 1,600, 1,700 years ago, were building waterworks, aqueducts, and irrigation systems. A country that is hosting you now had its first king who issued water-related decrees more than 900 years ago. This is a country which launched hydro-engineering training at the end of the 18th century and drafted in 1885 a water law, which was in effect for 80 years, up until 1965. Ladies and gentlemen, the video that you just saw is a short assessment of 2 years of work. The detailed report that the high-level panel on water convened by the previous UN Secretary General that I had the honor to serve on wrote the following in its so-called outcome document. The social, economic losses caused by floods and droughts are already immense worldwide, and climate change is only making these fluctuations more and more extreme. From here on, we cannot take the availability of water for granted. Individuals, communities, companies, cities, and countries have to understand more and more the role of water, the diverse values of water, and the need to manage it. In the report, we described how the drama of too much water, too little water, and of polluted water is unfolding in front of our eyes. But in fact, we knew that this was really a drama of humanity, the logical consequence of our irresponsibility. We, who have gathered here in Budapest, would like to prevent a water crisis that endangers the security of food supply, that makes energy production unviable, that hampers urban development, that makes the predictable functioning of the economy impossible, and that brings grave health problems to humanity. The facts are alarming and urge for action at the same time. Already today, 4 billion people experience a lack of water during at least 1 month of the year. The United Nations report for the latest summit in September warns that 700 million people may be forced to leave their homes due to the shortage of water by 2030. A report, the Global Water Development Report published this spring, says that the demand for water may increase by at least 20-30% compared to the present levels by 2050. If we consider that during the past 100 years, the increase of water consumption in the world was double the increase in Earth's population, then this is indeed a cautious estimate. Thus, the question is the following: how can we prevent the crisis where we still can, and how can we adapt in the places where the water crisis has already set? the drama of too little water. What ultimately did not happen last year in Cape Town, Africa, did finally occur this year in Chennai, in India. The reservoirs of a city of 9 million people went completely dry. There was no water in the taps for weeks. Families were allowed a daily ration of 40 liters of water, but even for this much, they had to wait long lines. And there are, indeed, exciting lists about which city will be the next. We know that the water crisis threatening metropolises and larger regions is not only because of a demographic boom or excessive water consumption, but also because of network loss. Nowadays, even the most developed cities are losing every 6th liter of their water due to seeping pipes. This kind of water loss can be as much as 50–80% in some of the major cities of the developing world. Are there any areas of life where we can see the crisis approaching and we are still allowing more than half of the resources that would help survival be lost? Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Water Resources of India will tell us firsthand about the drama of too little water. India is the second most populous country in the world and is set to become the most populous one within a few years. If they intend to provide for the water needs of the growing population, the irrigation needs of the drought-stricken areas, and also the water demand of industry, they will have to radically reorganize the country's water management system. We are looking forward with great interest to the speech of His Excellency, the Minister. But we can also learn from Jordan. In respect of per capita water, Jordan is the country which is in one of the most serious situations in the world. Despite this lack of water, 97% of the population has access to suitable quality water, and 93% of the population has access to some kind of sanitation. While more and more countries are finding themselves in a dire economic and social crisis, also compounded by the water supply problems, Jordan is still standing firm on its feet. How have they managed to achieve all this? I think it's going to be worth listening to the contribution of His Excellency, the Minister of Water and Irrigation of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. In Hungary, the per capita amount of water per year exceeds the water scarcity thresholds 11 times. Still, close to 10% of our country's land is threatened by desertification. Therefore, in the next coming 15 years, we will need more projects to improve water management than we did during the past 30 or 50 years. Water retention, the use of rainwater and wastewater, irrigation development. All these need time and lots of taxpayer money. The drama of too much water. We know that weather is becoming more and more extreme as a result of climate change. Hurricane Harvey showered Houston and its surroundings with 113 trillion liters of water within a few days. We have seen 20% of Pakistan's territory inundated with water. And after the dry spring, we can see how this especially strong monsoon season is testing parts of India. We recently saw dramatic pictures about the floods caused in the otherwise drought-stricken land when the annual amount of precipitation falls within 1 day. And during the recent days in Japan, Typhoon Hagibis poured so much rain on the people living there that Hungary experiences in a year and a half. We have passed the threshold of a new era. In the majority of our countries, the weather is showing such extremes that our infrastructure, built over the period of decades or even centuries, is just not prepared for. At the same time, we can see the successful struggle of Holland, with a view to preserving the safety of its sub-sea level agricultural land and cities. And we can also see how our Dutch friends are successfully using the strength of nature with the flexible application of their design principle, making space for water. We know how in many places like Germany and England and in several major Chinese cities, they have already articulated the need to reassess traditional critical water infrastructure. And what about Hungary? Well, we have been experiencing record high floods on Hungarian rivers year to year. During the past 200 years, we have built 4,200 kilometers of defensive lines, but even these do not provide enough sufficient protection against extreme floods. We have had to build 11 emergency reservoirs on the Tisza, our second largest river. With these, we are able to lower the water levels by 1 meter. Only these dikes and the reservoirs together can protect the 1.5 million people living along the river. It costs a lot, but the damage we are preventing would be even greater. The drama of polluted water. The population on Earth is growing so fast that demographic growth in the next coming 30 years will be more than it was during the many tens of thousands of years since the appearance of humans on the planet until the beginning of World War I. It is a serious problem that the demographic growth is the fastest in those places where 80 to 90% of wastewater is discharged into nature untreated. Mother Nature is not able to cope with such level of pollution. In many places, water drying up is not the greatest danger, but water becoming polluted and undrinkable is. While we are polluting our waters, we are also harming our chances of living, making modern agricultural and industrial production impossible, and squandering the future of our children. Thankfully, there are also good examples around. Singapore has learned how to protect the quality of its water reserves. Furthermore, they have also made it possible to recycle efficiently treated wastewater into the system for human consumption. 20 years ago, we were in a similar situation like some of the developing countries. We were only treating 20% of wastewater in Hungary. Today, this ratio is 90%. But the billions spent do yield fruit because the supply of the population, modern agricultural production, or modern industry is inconceivable without clean water. Today, we can say that rivers leaving our country are cleaner than they are when they arrive here. Ladies and gentlemen, we will need 21st century technologies if we are to prevent the water crisis or to adapt. Parallel to our conference, we are also organizing an exhibition where we present a few innovative Hungarian ideas to solve the different dramas of water. So if you were to visit the adjacent hall, among others, you will see for the drama of too little water, an innovative solution to help preserve soil humidity. A special environment-friendly gel with which you can reduce water loss of the soil by as much as 40 to 50% and therefore reduce drought damage. For the drama of too much water, I offer to your attention a system which helps to monitor underwater phenomena, which by helping to prevent structural damages helps to avert disasters and to alleviate the passing of floods. The water treatment plant combined with a botanic garden helps to prevent the further pollution of natural waters. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, the countries you represent account for close to 90% of the world's population. You came such a long way to Budapest to seek common responses to the issues of water crisis, namely, what kind of scientific research needs to be supported to prevent the water crisis? How could best practices in water management be applied elsewhere? What kind of technology change is required in the water industry? And for all this, what kind of financial background can be provided? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I began my speech with a quote from Albert Einstein. Let me finish with his words as well. Everyone knew it was impossible until a fool who didn't know came along and did it. I wish you all a very successful conference.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Unfortunately, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, couldn't join us today, but please welcome his video message.
I'm pleased to address the Budapest Water Summit, and I commend the government of Hungary for hosting these important gatherings. 40% of the world's people are affected by water scarcity. 80% of wastewater is discharged and treated into the environment. And more than 90% of natural disasters are water-related. Growing demand for water, poor resource management, and the climate emergency have all added to the stress. At the same time, solutions exist, from conservation strategies to desalination technologies. Scaling up such initiatives is urgent and crucial for reaching the Sustainable Development Goals, combating the climate crisis, preventing water-related conflicts, and building lives of dignity for all. Our bodies, our cities and our industries, our agriculture and our ecosystems all depend on water. Water is a human right. The United Nations is fully committed to working with you to uphold this right for all. Thank you.
It's an honor to introduce our next guest, His Excellency Mr. Samdech Hun Sen, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Prime Minister, please join me on stage.
Excellency Gino Ade, President of Hungary and Chairman of the Summit, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I am delighted and honored to join you all in this third Water Summit under the theme Preventing Water Crisis in this beautiful city of Budapest, Hungary. Taking these opportunities on behalf of the Royal Government of Cambodia and myself, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to and highly appreciate the government of Hungary as host country for its excellent arrangement and warm hospitality extended to our delegation. I am of the view that this summit is indeed important, providing an opportunity for all of us presented here to share experiences and exchange views on common solutions to water issues that has become a current global challenge in order to ensure inclusive and sustainable development while preventing a water crisis from happening. In addition, this summit is also a rare opportunity for the global leaders to reaffirm their determination, particularly with strengthen and increase engagement in resolving water-related issues. Excellencies, President, Excellencies, Madam, ladies and gentlemen. In the current global context of global warming, climate change, population growth, urbanization, growing industrial development, increasing demand for water, decline in water qualities and quantities, conflict over trans-boundary water, low access to clean waters and sanitation, limited awareness and insufficient public investment in waters, the water issues has been worsening that might lead to a crisis in the future. Water is a key and essential resources for supporting the life of human beings, animals, and natural plants, for sustainable economic social development, as well as for environmental sustainability, as defined by Sustainable Development Goal 6 of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development of the United Nations. Hence, we should have adopted a joint approach and implementation mechanism on water resource management through promoting cooperation and water security at both regional and global level in order to work together to prevent water crisis which could affect the socio-economic development, the well-being of the people, and the environment. In fact, in ASEAN region, with strong growth and rapid economic transformation, especially the steady growth of industrialization, urban migration, and urbanization, the pressures on demand for water, either for livelihood or industrial use, have become a major public issue, requiring a joint solution at a regional level, as water is a trans-boundary problem in which every country must unconditionally and willingly engage with. Moreover, the issues of water security has been a threat due to the lack of policies mechanism of water resource management, including that of solid and chemical waste discharged by industry.
ការយល់ដឹង
In addition, limited awareness by the public has caused pollution to water sources such as river, lake, river stream, and underground water, along with increasing impact of climate change and deforestation. The insufficient water resource management and public investment in its infrastructures have caused not only the loss of natural water resources, but also water shortage or even drought in some area.
ក្នុងបរិការខាងលើគ្រប់ប្រទេសទាំងអស់ក្នុងពិភពលោក
With the aforementioned context, every country in the world, including the national, regional, and international organizations, have been striving together to ensure the sustainability of water assets and environment in order to support the livelihood of the people and sustainable development of each nation. Going forward, in order to address these challenges and associated risks in a holistic and effective way, especially under the framework of 2030 Sustainable Development Goal to ensure sustainable and smart utilization of water resources for everyone and for younger generation, with the prevention of dispute between countries. I would like to highlight some priorities related to the approach for the management, governance, and financings as follows. First, continue with the initiatives to create a new global political architecture for water resource management so as to mobilize support from all stakeholders, nurture water-saving spirit, as well as avoid water pollution activities, and develop strong institutional governance and water policy with harmony and transparency. Second, enhance coordination, cooperation, and accountabilities on water use under the global framework, with the United Nations as an effective guide in addressing universal issues and in implementing the 2030 global agenda as well as the Paris Agreement. Third, strengthen coordination and cooperation at both technical and policies level on the issues of water, energy, climate change, food, health, and biodiversity conservation, aiming to promote and strengthen the governance and joint management of water resources through interministerial coordination, as well as all levels, as well as engaging all relevant actors and all water users. Fourth, enhance commitment at national level to eliminate the source of contamination of water by enhancing wastewater treatment capacities, increasing storage capacities of contaminated waters, and strengthening mechanisms to prevent all forms of water pollution. Fifth, create an inner linkage of water-related policies by strengthening the design of institutional mechanisms, tightening regulation and legal framework. Six, encourage development of new approaches on the sharing of benefits and responsibilities to maintain water sources, as well as planning and operation of infrastructures on transboundary waters in order to prevent eventual conflict and ensure sustainability of shared water usage. 7. Increase public investment in water management and access to clean waters and sanitation in line with the goals set in the Sustainable Development Goal. 8. Engage in the building of supportive environment for innovative business models that provide incentive to sustainable financing for providing clean water service by ensuring affordable price with high hygiene standards in line with the prevention and improvement for sustainable waters and soil ecosystem. And 9. Strengthen capacities in monitoring water-related issues under the framework of Sustainable Development Goals, as well as encourage the effort to collect water-related data and analysis at all levels with a commitment on political and financial support. Excellencies President, Excellencies, Madam, ladies and gentlemen, with its geographical position, Cambodia is abundant in freshwater resources. Originated from the Mekong River, flowing through Cambodia for around 480 kilometers, canal and stream around Tonle Sap Lake, the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia, tributary, as well as other river basins and potentially underground water. Cambodia considers water as white gold, which is a strategic driver for sustainable development, economic development. In fact, water is an indispensable source of support for citizen livelihood, agriculture, fishery, biodiversity, navigation, hydropowers, ecotourism, cultures, education, and many other fields, in not only in the past but also the present and the future. The availability of water in each country depends on geographical and climatic conditions that change seasonally and annually. At the same time, the management of local reservoirs, the construction of water infrastructures, and efficient water management are also essential. The Royal Government of Cambodia recognizes the strategic importance of waters and pay high attention to the water resource. We have laid out a series of rectangular strategies. We are in phase 4 now. According to the legislatures of the National Assembly, with 4 priorities areas: people, water, electricity, and road. In the areas of water resource, we have established law on water resource management in 27 and laid out policies as well as clear working program for effective and sustainable water resource management and development. At the same time, the Royal Government of Cambodia has also set up a river basin management committee with the aim of ensuring effective and sustainable management, conservation, and development of water resources to serve all sectors. In addition, Cambodia is actively involved in both regional and international framework in water resource management, and environmental protection activities, as well as prevention of water crisis. Although Cambodia remains a lower middle-income country, we have strived to mobilize financing from all sources inside and outside the country for the development of water resources. We have also cooperated with development partners, financial institutions, and regional and international organizations, namely the Mekong River Commission, MRC, Langsang Mekong Corporation, Greater Mekong Subregion, Mekong Japan, Mekong Korea, Mekong Kanga Corporation, Lower Mekong Initiative, Food and Agriculture Organization, the United Nations Development Program, World Meteorological Organization, International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage, International Network for Water and Ecosystem in Pedophile, Office of International the Law, International Water Management Institute, International Water Association, and Global Water Partnership. Furthermore, I would like to inform the summit that Cambodia is firmly committed in the protection and prevention of water crisis through the implementation of strategic plan and action highlighted as follows. First, continue strengthening effective enforcement of law, legislation, policy, and master plan on water resource management. Second, establish and strengthen mechanism on water resource management along river, stream, and basin at both national and sub-national level by formulating and implementing management plan on water resource and river basin, managing water resource for all relevant sectors in a balanced and equitable manner, developing map on flood and underground water, construction reservoir, dam, and water discharging system, the gradually implementing comprehensive modernization. Third, build technical foundation, human resource, and data management centers to collect data on both water and climate for analyzing, commercializing, and disseminating for national and international relevant sectors, especially for the development and management of water resource and the evaluation of water resource potential and demand in both quality and quantities in response to the development. Fourth, promote and encourage private sectors to engage in water resource development, as well as increase national budget and mobilize aids from international financial institutions and partner countries aiming to develop water resource sectors to ensure an effective and sustainable water supply in all relevant sectors. Excellent President, Excellencies, Madam, ladies and gentlemen, before closing, I would like to highlight that I recognize that water is human right. I am very grateful for the attention of all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. I would like to kindly ask His Excellency, Mr. Gilbert Hongbo, President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, also Chair of the UN Water, to hold his speech.
Excellency, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, first of all, I would like to express how grateful the UN Water is, and that it is a great honor to address you today. In thanking you and for your country's leadership in the global dialogue on water and sanitation, and for organizing this third edition for this important summit. As chair of the UN Water, I'm quite delighted to be here today representing the whole UN leadership. On behalf of the United Nations family and the international organizations that are part of UN Water, I would like to extend our gratitude to Hungary and to the countries represented here today. We do enjoy the close and effective cooperation with you that helps us prevent and address water crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, we meet today at a time of urgency, but also at a time for action. Just a few weeks ago, many of you were in New York for the Secretary General's Climate Action Summit. You were there with commitments showing how serious you are about tackling climate change. That meeting reiterated that, I quote, "If climate change is a shark, then water is its teeth." We face a grave climate and water emergency that threatens the world's most vulnerable people. Each degree of global warming translates into a 20% reduction in water resources for 7% of the global population. In 2030, that means 600 million people with their health and livelihoods at risk. We will need to tackle both the climate and the water emergency, and I am sure we can. As the Secretary General said, we have the technical solution. We have the science. But we need the political momentum and a transformational shift in how we value water. In 2015, world leaders promised to ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all by 2030. But we are far off. We are off track from meeting those targets. Many people are still living in catastrophic conditions, without drinking water, without toilets, amid polluted rivers, floods, and droughts. We know that solutions to deal with these challenges are available, and many of them are already being implemented. For example, in the Sahel, local communities are being trained in the construction and maintenance of cisterns which enable them to harvest rainwater, helping to improve water availability, particularly during dry periods. In Haiti, Dry toilets have been used to deal with a lack of water. At the same time, collected waste is used to produce compost, a more environmentally friendly alternative to chemical fertilizers. This summit will not solve all the world's water problem overnight, but it can focus the attention of the world's political, economic, and financial decision makers, including ourselves here. It can start to build bridges and promote water as an instrument of peace. We know that local and international water disputes are likely to increase with water scarcity. Water stress already affects more than half the global population, about 4 billion as we speak. In this context, water cooperation is key. The 2 UN Global Water Conventions play a vital role in interstate conflict prevention and transboundary water management. This is why we are taking significant steps to strengthen the UN system's capacity to leverage water for peace. Water and sanitation are human rights, and the Secretary General promises we are fully committed to working with you to uphold these rights for all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, last year, the high-level panel on water outlined an agenda to help us better manage this precious resource. It highlighted that we need a stronger foundation for action that is built around better data for evidence-based decisions, valuing water, and better water governance mechanism. It called for integrated approaches that acknowledge the fact that water and water-related challenges know no political or sectoral challenges. And it emphasizes the need for stronger international cooperation and partnership, as well as effort to catalyze change. These recommendations provide us with an action plan. I urge all of you to heed this call and work with the United Nations and partners to implement these recommendations. I also want to specifically highlight that the high-level panel called on the international community to accelerate progress on Sustainable Development Goal 6 to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Please allow me to reinforce that call and to know that this can be an important contribution to the Decade for Action and Delivery on Sustainable Development that the UN member states declared in New York a few weeks ago. Dear colleagues, this summit could not have come at a better time. We need ambition. We need vision. We need to act together. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, may I invite Mr. Jin Lee-kun, President of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, to take the stage.
The Honorable President, Prime Minister, Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very much honored and privileged to be invited to attend Budapest 2019 Water Summit. This is a very important event. First of all, let me say a few words about the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. Hungary is one of the earliest members of this bank. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your decisive action to join this bank. AIIB is a new development bank in the family of multilateral development banks. While our bank has Asian countries as the majority shareholders, it is indeed a global citizen with 100 members from across the world. Our development efforts will focus on Asian countries, but we will also go beyond Asia to invest in our non-regional members. Asia cannot sustain its development without working in close collaboration with all the other regions in this world. 3.5 years into operation, we have committed a total of $10 billion for 18 countries, including Egypt, which is a non-Asian country. The bank's lending program will continue to grow to meet the needs of our members in Asia and beyond. AIIB boasts an excellent staff of high caliber, made up of 43 nationalities, including some from Hungary. AIIB's mandate is to promote infrastructure, paving the path for broad-based economic and social development. We aim to promote regional cooperation and partnership in addressing development challenges. We want to facilitate connectivity, supporting projects that are financially sustainable and environmentally friendly, and that meet the needs of the people. Investment in the water sector are aligned with all of these goals. In June this year, AIIB participated in the first lead-up event of the Budapest Water Summit as part of the lead-up to our annual meeting in Luxembourg. As you can see, the engagement between AIIB and Hungary on this very crucial topic is already ongoing. Our bank attaches great importance to supporting the water sector. Water availability and management have been and will remain crucial for economic growth, food security, and trade throughout Asia and beyond. In Asia alone, more than 1 billion people do not have access to adequate water supply and sanitation, while millions suffer from floods and drought annually. When translated into financial terms, these challenges cost the Asian economy at least $360 billion on an annual basis. Poverty has a lot to do with water shortage. It is a serious challenge to many low-income countries across the world. In some rural areas, women must walk a long way for hours to fetch water every day. It is a tremendous waste of an otherwise productive labor force. In many areas not blessed with sufficient rainfall or equipped with irrigation system, it's virtually impossible to develop agriculture and animal husbandry. In today's world, there are still quite a number of urban areas that have no or limited wastewater treatment facilities, leading to serious pollution to rivers, lakes, coastal seas, and underground water resources. It's the lack of safe drinking water that takes a heavy toll on the health of so many unfortunate people who have no access to clean water. This is a sad story to tell, and we must put a stop to such a deplorable situation. Our bank has begun to contribute. So far, we have invested $1.4 billion in 7 projects across 6 countries. But these pales in comparison to the financing gap in the hundreds of billions annually. There is already a lot for us to do. This is why we are developing a water strategy to help shape our priorities and guide our engagement in the sector, while also collaborating with development partners to optimize our investment impact. We are undertaking consultation on this strategy today, here during the summit. And I hope some of you can share your insights, your ideas with us. Going forward, we hope that many of the experts here, and particularly professionals and companies, will partner with us. I have had profound inspiration from my visit to Budapest. Walking along the beautiful Danube, I told myself that we need to advocate the experience of Hungary and other countries along the Danube in safeguarding this great river, which has over the centuries nourished with its fresh water, as potent as milk, so many people generation after generation in this region. This is the international cooperation Hungary and all the other countries along the Danube have demonstrated in protecting our most beloved planet. A drop of water from the Danube, so clear, so pure, and so crystalline, reflects the noble spirit and high sense of responsibility of the people who have protected this mother river, who gives life to the people. This is international cooperation which needs to be replicated and applied in many other parts of the world. I would like to pay a tribute to the people of Hungary and to the people of other countries in this region. We have a lot to learn from you. Now, let me speak for a minute about connectivity. There has always been a strong bond between Asian and European countries. Asia and Europe share the same vast continent. We are physically bound to each other, yet tough terrain impedes this geographical affinity, hampering exchanges in commerce, investment, and culture. Now is the time to improve our connectivity in all its dimensions. And I'm delighted to be here in Hungary discussing this with you. Your country sits strategically as the gateway between East and West. Our key role of the bank is to support European-Asian connectivity, and we look forward to working with Hungary on this important initiative. Our bank is mandated to improve connectivity among its members and among the regions. But operations in infrastructure investment must adapt and evolve. Emphasis should be placed on a green approach to building infrastructure. Project implementation should be green, operation and maintenance of facilities should be green. Overall growth and development stemming from infrastructure should be even greener. Climate change is one of the causes for water crisis, and promoting green economy across the world is partly the solution. Excess water, lack of water, and polluted water are the three triple issues all of us have to address. But I'm sure by working together, acting together, we can work out a solution together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Last but not least, please welcome His Excellency Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Minister of Jal Shakti, the ministry responsible for water affairs of the Republic of India, on stage. There, please. Yes.
His Excellency, President of Hungary and Chairman of the Summit, Mr. János Áder, His Excellency Prime Minister of Kingdom of Cambodia, Mr. Samdech Hun Sen, His Excellency Gilbert Hongbo, President IFAD, and His Excellency Mr. Lee Quinzin, President AIIB. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my greetings to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank the government of Hungary for inviting me to the Budapest Water Summit 2019. Being held in this beautiful city, rightly known as the spa capital of the world, I take this opportunity to convey the greetings of 1.3 billion Indians who believe to live in total harmony with nature and preserve it for future generations. Standing here at the birthplace of Amrita Shergill, a world-renowned 20th century Hungarian Indian painter, may I fondly recall her artwork that has etched the India-Hungary bond forever. I extend my heartiest congratulations to the President of Hungary, His Excellency Mr. János Áder, under whose leadership the government of Hungary is hosting the Budapest Water Summit 2019. Sir, your efforts are commendable. The theme of this summit, Preventing Water Crisis, reflects the prevailing situation world over. The situation is alarming in many places across the globe. According to WRI, 17 countries, including India, are facing extremely high risk of water stress, and 27 countries, high risk it is not just Middle East and Sub-Saharan Africa anymore, but water stress is creating shockwaves across the globe. Cape Town in South Africa and Chennai in India recently averted the day zero. Many states in USA facing paucity of water. Many countries in Europe are facing water scarcity that is only set to worsen with climate change. Water crisis present an unstable, dangerous situation. Water scarcity is not just about non-availability of drinking water, but it also increases risks of conflict and migration, threatens food supplies, poses risk for water-dependent industries. Given the increasingly challenging scenario, summits like these are powerful platforms to contemplate pressing issues for mankind, to reflect on what we have achieved so far and decide future course of action through dialogue. From the dawn of history, rivers have played such a pivotal role in the life of people that every civilization came to be known as river valley civilizations. Rivers will always remain the lifeline for living beings. Hungary has been blessed with the abundant water resources, the Danube River, the Balkan Lake, Meskalaktapola Cave Thermal Bath, Lake Havis. This beautiful country has been blessed by nature and has done a commendable job in managing its water resources. Indeed, you are a role model for others. Rivers are essential for Indian economy, its society, its very civilizational essence. Several rivers flow through our country. They irrigate our farmlands and maintain our soil's fertility. Above all, they nurture our people. For us Indians, rivers are a manifestation of the divine. Their waters are so fundamental to our way of life as to be perceived as almost sacred. There is a shloka in one of our scriptures which goes like this: Apo hishtha mayo bhuva sthana urje dadhatan maheranaya chakshase yova shivattamo rasa tasya bhajayate hana ushatiriva matarah. It means, I quote, water is life-giving nectar on the earth. It generates happiness. May it strengthen us with great energy. It's a great source of energy. It is the most beneficial elixir. It nurtures us just as a loving mother nourishes its offsprings, unquote. Water is an integral part of Indian belief and customs. It has always been given a sacred place in our centuries-old civilization. In the hands of Vedas, Upanishad, Puranas, and in the epics of the great work of Vedic scholars, the importance of water is often highlighted. The ancient wisdom of water conservation is a collective vision of our ancestors who wanted future generations to benefit from it. India is a home of 18% of world's human population, as well as 18% of the world's livestock population. But India has only 4% of the freshwater resources of the world. In fact, our per capita water availability is further reducing from 5,177 meter cube per year in 1951 to 1,545 meter cube in year to 2011. India suffers from recurrent droughts, with 16% of its area being drought-prone. To make matters more complex, there is a significant spatial variation in groundwater conditions in the country. While our eastern and northeastern regions have abundant groundwater, parts of northwestern and southern India are groundwater stressed. I hail from one of the most water-stressed regions in the country, that is Rajasthan. Being the second largest population country with diverse climatic regions, and in view of these challenges, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has now put India's water security at the center of our government's developmental agenda. The first concrete step taken in this direction by the government of India has been the constitution of a new integrated Ministry of Water Resources and Supply, the Ministry of Jal Shakti, of which I have had the privilege to being appointed as the first minister. The Prime Minister, reaching out to all fellow citizens and village heads, has called for a national movement on water conservation, especially to capture the rainwater that India is blessed with. It's a bottom-up approach. The mission called Jal Shakti Abhiyan is a collaborative effort of the central and state governments to accelerate progress on water conservation activities in the most water-stressed blocks and districts of India. Under this campaign, over 1,000 senior civil servants and experts have joined the states to promote focused interventions for rainwater harvesting and conservation, including the restoration and renovation of traditional water bodies at grassroots through mass community awareness and ownership campaigns. This shows the seriousness of the government to make water everyone's business. Many of our provinces have also scripted success stories in water conservation. Maharashtra's Jal Yukta Shivir, Rajasthan's Mukhyamantri Jal Swavlamban Abhiyan, and Gujarat's initiative to have a single water grid connecting 14,000 villages and 145 towns and desilting of water bodies to increase their capacity have proved to be the trailblazers. It has been and will be our endeavor to partner and work together with provincial governments, municipal and village governments, NGOs, and local communities to design, implement, and advance simple and practicable solutions to water problems. India's diversity presents unique challenges. While 16% of India is drought-prone and 13% of country is flood-prone. On the other hand, climate change has worsened the situation and has affected the pattern of the monsoons. It is observed that most of the rainfall during the monsoon season is increasingly occurring in a limited number of days. This is expected to further aggravate spatial and temporal variability of rainfall of water availability in the country. We have adopted a judicious mix of structural and non-structural measures through community consultation and participation for managing floods. Our emphasis is on the bottom-up approach, learning, empowering communities, and working with local communities. The engagement of local community with its water resources and resources is the key success in the entire gamut of water management issues. We are working on the largest and most comprehensive river rejuvenation mission for the entire basin of Holly River, Ganges, which constitutes 28% of India's water resources and almost 43% of country's population depends on its water. The National Mission for Clean Ganga will ensure that the flow of Ganga continues and unpolluted, aviral and nirmal. On similar lines, the government have also planned to clean up rivers such as Kaveri, Periyar, Narmada, Yamuna, Mahanadi, and Godavari. Presently, about 18% of rural Indians' households have piped water supply in their home, and 56% of rural population have access to piped water supply through public standposts. The Jal Jeevan Mission, as announced by the Prime Minister Modi of India, plans to ensure piped water supply to all households by 2024. As we all know under United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, it is to be achieved by 2030. The mission will focus on decentralized water management with the community taking the lead. Each village water supply scheme will have mandatory components of source sustainability, grey water recycle and reuse, and water conservation embedded in the planning and design process itself. This program needs huge technological inputs and innovation with implementation strategy, with speed and on such a scale. This mission is backed up with the budget of about $51 billion. India is also working towards improving water use efficacy and ensuring sustainable withdrawals. We all are implementing major and medium irrigation projects at a cost of $11 billion, creating irrigation potential of 7.6 million hectares with emphasis on efficient water use practices. We are witnessing a new era of water use efficiency. Our National Aquifer Mapping Program is world's biggest program of its kind, and envisages formulation of aquifer management plans to facilitate sustainable development of groundwater. So far, Over 1 million square kilometers have been mapped, and another 1.5 million will be mapped in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, India shares its border with as many as 7 countries. To ensure mutual peace and development, we have a number of treaties with our immediate neighbors for the transboundary rivers, which are functioning effectively for several decades. India has presented a model for regional cooperation in water sector. I would like to mention here that India's water treaty with Pakistan, an agreement on the use of Indus waters that was signed in 1960. The government of India also has MOU with China for sharing of hydrological information on the Brahmaputra and Satluj rivers. Apart from that, a treaty has also been signed in 1996 with Nepal for the integrated water development of the Mahakali River. With Bangladesh, a Ganga water sharing treaty was also reached in 1996. It shows the deep-rooted commitment of India for the water cooperation. India is taking up its water conservation and management issues in comprehensive mission mode, involving all stakeholders. We took up our national sanitation program with similar approach from 2014 to 2019 under the Swachh Bharat mission. India's sanitation coverage has increased from about 39% to almost 100% in the last 5 years. 600 million people have stopped defecating in the open and have made India open defecation free. This astronomical feat has been achieved by making sanitation a people's movement. An unprecedented behavioral change against the United Nations SDG target to provide toilets to each household by 2030, we have achieved this milestone in 2019 itself. Ladies and gentlemen, on 2nd October this year, whole world celebrated our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birthday. Gandhiji is well known for his preaching and practicing of peaceful coexistence and non-violence. But through his life, Mahatma Gandhi also taught us how to respect nature and use natural resources as a trustee. We follow up the path shown by Gandhiji and contributing in finding solutions to pressing issues the world faces today, like climate change, sanitation, poverty elimination, preserving nature and natural resources for future generations. We all are here since we believe in Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means whole world is one family. Before I conclude, I must say that each and every one of you present here is concerned about emerging water crisis. We come from different parts of the world, but we work to achieve the same goal. I call upon all nations, international organizations, and individuals to join hands to solve the problems related to water in different parts of the world. I'm sure that the sessions which are going to be held during this summit will present economical, scientific, and technological solutions to prevent water crisis and significantly contribute to galvanizing the world community to work collectively. Let us innovate together, deflect a little from the routine and conventional thinking, and help each other out of fight against all odds. Powered by synergy, 1 + 1 becomes 11. Let us come together to create a synergy for saving water, thereby saving life, and in turn, saving our planet. Here, I extend commitment of India for preventing the global crisis of water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. And thank you very much for all the distinguished guests for their welcoming remarks. I kindly ask you to remain seated while His Excellency Mr. János Áder and His Excellency Sri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat leave the hall for a press conference. Meanwhile, allow me to tell you that the opening panel on Can Water Crisis Be Prevented will start here at 11:45 until we will have a coffee break. You will find some refreshments in Building D, that's just right across the hall. I hope to see you back in half an hour. I kindly once again ask you to remain seated while the delegation leaves the room. Thank you very much.